Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover the home buying timeline. I'm finding with my clients and with people I speak to about real estate, there's a lot of confusion in terms of how the home buying timeline works, the process from submitting an offer to when you're actually able to move into that home. And obviously there's a lot of things that rely upon the timing of a purchase. For example, you might be selling your own home. You may have to give notice if you're renting. So this is a very important topic. I felt it important to make a video on it. Really quickly, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hasan. Juma. I'm a real estate agent in Vancouver, and I make these educational videos to help you in your buying or selling journey. Without wasting any time, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, and just for the record, I'm not going to talk about like pre-approval and processes like that. I'm going to talk about when you're finally ready to, step foot in your car and head out and view your first property with your agent. That's where we'll start this. The reason I created this video actually is I had a client of mine just a couple months back, and we had started viewing a couple of properties, and I said, hey, I haven't really asked you, like, what's your ideal time frame for making a move? And he said, you know what, I'd love to make a move by the end of the month. And we were already a week into the month, and I realized that that was literally an impossible thing to do. Not just in this market, in many markets that's a big challenge. But I realized that a lot of home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, they don't know how that timeline is going to look. So I'm going to explain it now. So the first thing you're going to do, obviously, is you're going to get out there and you're going to view properties. Now, some buyers, some clients, they like to view 10, 15, 20, 30 properties before making a decision. I've worked with clients who see the first property, they fall in love with it, and they say we want to write an offer. So it's tough to put a timeline on how long this process takes, but let's say anywhere from, at the very shortest, a week to 2 weeks, to 3, 4, 5, even 6 months to try and find that property. So the first step obviously is finding the property that you want to write on. Your real estate agent is going to send you properties to look at. Together you will go out and view these properties. So let's assume now that you found the property that you like and you're ready to write the offer. So once you write the actual offer for the property, there's a little bit of a window and sometimes a back and forth between buyer and seller in terms of negotiating price in terms of that contract. I mean, sometimes, yes, you're writing a full price offer with no subjects that's going to get accepted the same night. Some negotiations take 24, 48, 72 hours. Sometimes on more detailed deals, a negotiation will last a week, but let's say on average 24 to 48 hours from when you submit an offer in terms of knowing whether A, your offer is getting accepted, B, you're getting a counter offer, or C, you're not getting a counter offer at all, and the seller is like, no, I'm not doing it. So you'll know that again within 24 to, let's say, 72 hours from when you write the offer. Now, most of the time when you're writing an offer, especially if you're a first-time buyer or a second-time buyer, is you're writing with subjects in that offer. And subjects may be subject to financing, subject to inspection. There's a whole range of subjects or contingencies that we can put into offers. A typical time frame for a contingency will depend on the type of market we're in. If it's a heavy seller's market like we're in today, you will want a very short window, as short as possible, of a subject removal period. Sometimes when it's a buyer's market, you can actually take longer to do your due diligence, but I'm just going to take an average of 1 week for a subject removal period. So again, you've written your offer, 24 to 72 hours, you're going to know whether that offer is accepted, or you're going to negotiate and come to an accepted offer, and then you're going to have another week of subject removal period where you can go through all of your due diligence. At that subject removal point, so now it's a week later, the ball's in your court as a buyer, you've checked off all of your contingencies. At that point is when you're going to remove subjects. Now, that's not when you figure out when you're going to complete on the property. Within your offer, you're going to have a completion date, and that means when you're going to pay for the property, and a possession date, which is when you're actually going to take the keys to the property. Usually, the completion date is 1 day before the possession date. For the most part, this can range a lot. Again, I'm being very general here, but let's just assume that it's going to be a 1 day difference between the day that you actually pay, completion day, and the day you get the keys, possession day. So you'll already have that within your offer. Now, there's some things to think about when you're putting these dates in. Of course, it's not always up to yourself as the buyer what dates you want to see. A lot of it has to work with the seller as well. So for example, if you are purchasing a tenanted property on a month-to-month, so the tenant is on a month-to-month here in BC, you need to give them 2 calendar months notice, or give the tenant 2 calendar months notice to move yourself in. So already you can see how this timeline, and the client I spoke about earlier, if we were purchasing a property that had a tenant in there, there's absolutely no way that they were going to be able to move in at their desired time frame. So again, if it's a tenanted property as it stands today and it's a month-to-month tenant, 2 full calendar months. So that means if we are, it's February 12th or 13th today, that would basically mean we have to give February, but then all of March and all of April too. The earliest we can move into that property is May 1st. Now, suppose it's seller occupied or owner occupied, it's not tenanted. A lot of sellers are going to want, obviously, 2 things. They're going to want either time to move, but then also time to find their next place as well. So it's very rare that you can go to a property that has a seller living in it and tell them I want to complete in 2 weeks. It's just not reasonable. It causes a lot of stress for the seller. They're going to say no. Now, if you pay a high price for the property, they may find a way to make it work. But usually you're not going to be able to move a family out that quickly. I would say the average kind of time frame for something like that, and again, I'm going to use today's date, February 12th or 13th. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to use today's date. Typically, if you have the subject removal period now, then you could possibly move in at the end of March. Sometimes your move-in date might be into April. So you got to your subject removal period. You're not waiting for that completion date. There's one other scenario I do want to talk about, and that's when you're purchasing a vacant property. Now, when you're purchasing a vacant property, there's often a lot of flexibility with dates, right? The seller has already moved out. A lot of times they want their cash. They're waiting for their money, and sometimes you can get a better deal by writing a quicker completion. So in those instances, again, we're taking today's general date. You could possibly complete at the end of February or right at the beginning of March. The lawyers, they need about just a few days, let's say 5 business days to put a deal together, sometimes less, and as well as the funds as well. The mortgage will take about that same amount of time. So you can do it in a week to 2 weeks from when you remove subjects. So again, when it comes to your home buying process, so much is going to have to do with the type of property that you're buying. If it's vacant, I go back to the client again. If it was vacant, we'd be able to do something by the end of the month. If it was tenanted, it would take, let's say, the longest, and if it was seller or owner occupied, it would take a little bit shorter than that. So I hope this video gave you a general idea of kind of how the time frame works when you're moving through the sales process. If you're looking at buying or selling real estate in Vancouver and you want some help from me, all my information's at the bottom of the video. And if you have questions for me, shoot me an email because I understand this video might be a little confusing the way I went about it. But yeah, if you have questions for me, shoot me an email, send me a text. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found some value in this video. Take care and have a great day.